Hello, my friends, and welcome back to day three of the Prospect Cup. My name is Bull Skunk alongside Mana Class, and we're going to head to the Eastern Division here for our second matchup of the day as we have Purple taking on Company 8.
Yeah, Purple has been doing a lot lately in a lot of tournaments. They were in the third Impact qualifiers. They've been playing in the Solstice Showdown lately. They were even in the Fran Cup a few days ago. So, they've been popping. They've been doing things in the tournament scene. They've been active. We know some results of theirs. They haven't made it to like far around so far, but in the Solstice Showdown, they're getting there. They had the upper bracket semifinals in there versus Regen yesterday, which is a very close 3-2. So they're warmed up. They're ready to go. They're on top of their game, on top of their meta. And with Open Division getting closer, I'm sure they're hungry to get some more. And Company 8, though, that's a whole new story. We know virtually nothing about this team. They have, of course, played a few matches already in this tournament. One of them was a forfeit, so we don't even have that much info on them. So it will be a very fresh experience when it comes to that. To see Purple, who I am personally relatively familiar with, going up versus a team that I know, again, like virtually nothing about. So yeah, hopefully we'll get acquainted with them very quickly in this game.
Well, Purple coming in 1-1 so far in this tournament. Company 8, 2-0, like you said, the beneficiary of a forfeit win in that. But Company 8, a rebrand of a team you might be familiar with. Old Man Strength, though the roster doesn't look like the same roster that we might be used to seeing from OMS.
Not at all. No, no, no. They picked up half a roster of old Lunaris and some other like loose bits and pieces. But Purple is also not like a fully formed roster yet. So both teams having some new synergy to build here and there probably. But Company 8, like we said, I think they have a decent core because they picked up some supports and then a tank from Lunaris previously, and that just means that synergy is already there. Those three have probably worked together before. Same thing goes then for you bring in three new people. DPS are usually the easiest ones to work into the mix. They have one extra tank. You can work that in. Don't need that long for that. Um, Starting on Legion Tower here, though, I'm very interested to see what they're actually going to go with because I've seen a lot of good work come out from Purple. They played a very interesting, very good flank Sigma on a lot of maps. Also, a very good Diva from Greg a lot of the time. There was the MVP from that match, as I recall. And then Alexio doing a good job on the flex support. There's just a lot of things to love about that team. But like I said, they do have still a few missing or moving pieces. Their main tank position specifically has not been so stable of late. So maybe Aglia can actually be their force to be reckoned with. Their stable force, their stable new main tank. And if they can work around well with that main tank, that could be a very good thing for them going into the future, especially going into Open Division, because of course the path to pro seems to be what it's all about for most of these teams.
I mean, that's a difficult role to just rotate people in and out of, though. I mean, your main tank seems such an anchor position, not only for creating the front line and setting the pace for your team, but also in a shot calling standpoint, and just a leadership standpoint. That might be a difficult role to
It,
bring.
it should
We
be
have,
right. So
yeah.
we had an interview with Garms, who was their previous main tank and was subbing in for them that game. And Garms was actually very proud of what Purple had been doing comms wise, because Garms said like, yes, normally I would be like a very vocal player, but Greg and Alexio were really doing well on just having taken those comms upon them. They really have taken over that leadership role, that strategic brain role in that team. So I'm not all that worried about the main tank being missing or being new in that case. The only problem you might have, of course, is if because they have a new main tank, start messing up that comm structure again, where they start trying something new. That might be an experimental area that could go in the wrong direction for them. But yeah, they do seem to have a little bit more battle experience, at least as most of the core together, than the side of Company 8. So going to Legion Gardens here, I expect that to potentially play a role where that familiarity and that comfort come into play.
Well, we'll be keeping a sharp eye on Purple to see if indeed they have that coordination that we are expecting out of them. And
Yeah.
we will start in Gardens, like you said, in this first to three series. This will be loser pick following. So we'll go from there. Company 8 showing us a little bit of Reinhardt Arisa to start things off, bringing out the May and early Sim to teleport the team in. Looking like Orisa and Winston. Interesting. Okay, there we go. That looks a bit better. We're going to get Winston Diva coming out from purple here, bringing the Brig and the Ana. The Ana, an interesting support pick here. We saw it come into play in our last series.
We do see HK going up to that Echo is sort of something I expect from them. Nice teleport here to the point, though. Very early move, and that means a double shield is going to take position there, and it's all up to the dive comp to poke and prod from the outside until they see that opening.
Well, Zeus doing a good job of poking and prodding right out of the gate, taking Tamaki down. First blood in this series. Immortality Field forced out early. HK removing that piece of equipment, but they lose the Winston on the way in. So Purple now missing a primary source of shielding and sustain here. And despite the good ante into the pack, there's no follow-up on it. Looks like Company 8's going to get us started with first control. There's still a couple of straggling members of Purple left in here. Iglia hopping back in with a quickness. And Purple keeping the pressure on, but not enough to get this point. A couple of key kills coming through for Company 8 as they look to clean up and indeed get that first percentage started.
Company 8 eventually sustains through that. That's, of course, what that Baptiste and Lucio are so good at doing. The AoE healing for both of them, and then also the Immortality Field and everything going out there. Yeah, they lost Tamaki early, but Tamaki just comes back on the Doomfist, which, according to their team sheet, is actually quite a good hero for them. And sticking on that as well for now. Of course, they didn't really want to go back to spawn. And they will have some ultimates to work with as well. Both teams will. That Nano, who's it going to go on?
We're going to get the amplification main out first. The Nano goes on to the Winston as he pushes and help it clean up. The duplicate coming out with the Reinhardt as well. Two big beefy tanks chasing Aster all the way out of the point. A nice late charge there from HK to finish off the Lucio. And that was a swift retake from Purple here.
Such a huge pulse bomb from Zeus. Zeus just gets that pulse bomb onto the Geo on that Baptiste there, and even the Immortality Field can't really do anything against that. I think they figured they were sort of safe because of that barrier from I'm Special, but unfortunately, he get taken out by a Pulse Bomb. It's just goodbye world for Geo, and there's the Meteor Strike. An aggressive punch with a good escape.
Meteor Strike drops, Earthshatter comes down and finds 3. The Primal Rage, not enough to keep Eklia in the battle. HK does take down Tamari, but it's an all-out brawl on this point. The Briggs chasing the Tracers around, oh, but Leak goes down. Aster there to keep those DPS in the fight, and this is just going to flip right back over, it seems, once Company 8 can clean this up. Though that's still coming through. There's still a Tracer and a Winston on point here for Purple, trying to buy as much percentage as they can.
Yeah, and they still have that teleport. I think that's the big problem. There's a nice pulse bomb on the main tank there that might actually spell doom here because there's no other shield right now, and they did take out the teleporter, so it's going to take a while for Aster to get back. They just choose to pause that fight a little bit, go for the soft reset, and then re-engage. Might actually be a hard reset at this point, but yeah, now we look at the tools. So many ultimates online, and actually for both teams, there's quite a few tools coming up. I don't really know where this is going to go with that. Nice how the structure started off, splits the team, and the Immortality Field can only save them for so much.
The Amplification Matrix out from Geo as well, but HK getting into the mix, takes down the Reinhardt, then duplicates. Oh, and it throws that extra shatter, and here comes another one. Oh man, HK just going ham here in the small room. Company 8 just scrambling, running for their lives.
And HK, once they get warmed up, it's very hard to cool them back down again. On that Echo, on the Genji they play sometimes, on any hero really. Gets another nice assassination onto Nai there, and Ni. It's just Annie. I don't really know. It was Annie, right? Yeah.
Annie.
It says Nai, but it's pronounced Annie. To make it clear to everybody. But it will be a 1-0 for that reason for Purple. You saw that teamwork come in, right? Like, dive cannot be executed with that coordination, with the I'm going in now, and then you can catch the target on that side when they try to escape, and then like it's all these tiny little movements, these rotations, and if you don't have that coordination, you cannot really set that up. But now we're going to be seeing HK going over to Symmetra, and this is probably when they're actually going to teleport the Symmetra into that high ground through that window from both teams. It will be Tamaki on the Mei again, which will likely work a little bit better. So there's actually potential, if Zeus stays on that Ashe, for there to be an advantage, and they might not even use it. They just use it to get out of spawn quicker. It's going to be HK going back up to the Echo, and the other team will use that Symmetra spawn teleporter, it seems. They are going through the window.
Yeah, Company 8 getting their feet planted on that objective, and I agree that Tamaki on the May could be the difference maker here, especially if they're going to force Purple to come dislodge them. But HK up to the challenge, takes down the Orisa early. That's one of your two big shield tanks missing, but there's still a Reinhardt there to hold down the fort. Geo picking HK out of the sky, and we're back to a 5v5 here on the objective. Nice fire strike, takes down Leak. That's a very important kill. Zeus trying to strike back, though, with equally a priority target. Takes the Reinhardt out of the battle. We're down to a 4v4 on the point. Company 8 finding the kills at the end. I'm special, tilting the balance.
And it looked a bit questionable because we saw Company 8 just all walking out on the cliff because they were probably trying to chase down HK. But they do find that kill. And the space they gave up wasn't capitalized on properly by the other side of Purple here. And now Purple's got to once again just try to come back in and use their abilities, their ultimates, their spam to get through onto this objective, because it's still rough to going against that Symmetra May, and that's why they're trying to fight at range as much as possible. And there's a teleport in.
What an aggressive move from Company 8, pushing out, throwing the Ant Matrix down, but here comes the Gravitic Flux from the other side. Greg lands down a whole host of Company 8 there, and now the kills lighten up the feed. Egli and HK getting into the shuffle. Zeus has the Bob online, not even going to need it with shots like that coming from the Viper. The duplicate has been thrown in here from Purple. Used to a decent effect there to clean up, but I'm not sure if they even needed it.
No, but sometimes you just want that confirm. You want the potential to tick over, get those extra last kills. And Echo's ultimate, it can charge really quickly, so sometimes it's just worth just use it to confirm. And they're gonna have 4 other ultimates in this next fight. Both support ultimates, gonna have the Bob, they're gonna have the Orisa. And if you want to keep rotating certain ultimates, it might just be worth just to use it so you can work on that rotation a bit better.
Yeah, Alexio needs to stay safe here, get that Transcendence up before Tamaki can get that Blizzard out. That's what we're keeping an eye on here. Bob coming out early, but it is just a mild annoyance for Company 8 as they try to push in. The Ant Matrix on the other hand. Oh, and just in time, Alexio does get the Transcendence up to deny the value out of that Blizzard. But it's still Company 8 pushing Purple all the way back into the corner with their backs up against the wall, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Company 8 flipping this point, and they still have a couple of support ults to work with.
And it does look like Purple has a bit of a problem into rotation right now, where when they're playing on the aggressive, they're able to surround the enemy team, get in the right positions, do that. But when they're being pushed, they sort of group up. They're not really kiting that much with their tanks, and their DPS don't get enough time to really put in the damage for that reason. And now we do see them get a little bit more space because they are on that initiative again.
And Company 8 with the clear ult advantage, once again using the Amplification Matrix early. Supercharger also available to them. Greg close to that Gravitic Flux, as Purple, once again, just pushing through the front door. So far, throwing in some shots from a distance, see if they can find an early kill. But here comes that Supercharger out from the other side. And Company 8 going to get aggressive on the back of that Maywall to deny the escape of Egli on the other side. And without that Orisa, that's a large chunk of shielding gone. The duplicate used once again onto the Reinhardt, pushing in. It's going to throw down that extra shatter. And it looks like they might have done it. The Amplification Matrix from Leak allowed for so much damage. Zeus taking advantage of that perfectly. Geo trying to strike back. But the advantage here still the Purple slightly. Oh, getting taken away immediately on special, burning them down, showing up in the kill feed when it matters most, finding a huge 3K here as the overtime wick starts to burn down.
Yeah, that's Symmetra making all the difference there. Got a lot of damage out in general. But there in the end, that wall was just insane. Like, it was on a very good position. It forced Purple to try and capitalize on what the damage they'd already done by going through the enemy shield, which also denies some of their own healing, which they had in the form, because they will just hit the shield and not go through it. This is a very heads-up play, and it just came online as they really needed it. Because there were some ultimates there for Purple that could have really turned the tides, but they just couldn't get them online in time, couldn't really use them in time in the effective way because of the time pressure that they were under. Now that we're going into Control Center, though, no more Echo. That's just not going to happen here. So HQ will be on the May. And last time, if I'm not mistaken, HQ had some very, very good walls. And they might run in here with the Symmetra only for the spawn. I think Zeus is going to swap back over. It's going to be the May Reaper indeed.
Well, I think there's definitely a little bit of a composition advantage here to Purple. We'll see if they can get first control started. First fight, so important here on Control Center. A very aggressive charge from Eglia. Immortality Field forced out to keep Yubio alive. And Now it's actually purple kind of forced to kind of back into it. They spent a lot of cooldowns and didn't find a whole lot. Zeus does eventually take down Yuio on the Reinhardt. The Maywall almost, I think, blocked their own main tank off of that. Leak goes down, but 2 kills for the other side. Man, advantage to purple as they run Company 8 all the way back into their spawn.
Yeah, purple being able to use that high ground position of the stairs a little bit better of that server stairs room to get their Baptiste value out, or at least their healing value out. Of course, they were playing Lucio and Moira, so they're generally close to their Reinhardt. They're able to mobilize and rotate around those Maywalls effectively for that healing. Cannot be set for Nyan Geo as easily.
Now the clash inside the small room. Earth Shatter from both sides finds 2 apiece. And the kills are traded out. Yue goes down though, and Egli is still in the fight. That Reinhardt, the difference maker here, turned their attention on to the Mei. Mei goes down, no longer available. That Blizzard, no effect. Well, didn't even come out in that fight.
Oh, and it will be so important to use a fight advantage like that. You won that first fight handily, you go aggressive, you keep that fight going almost into their spawn. Now they've already got 50% of the Blizzard and a wall are ready to just wall them off. The tanks are gone.
And here comes the Blizzard from purple. Immediately 2 kills, lighten up the feed. And they're just going to get aggressive once again, clean up the fight. I got to say, I loved H-Key's positioning on that one. The last attack through Company 8 threw up the defensive wall to allow them to push through. H-Key just swaps to the other side. Clear LOS to block that entrance.
Yeah, it's a bit risky, of course. If they do turn on you, you are in a very precarious position there. But they will now back off a little bit, not use it as aggressively anymore, because they know they're a bit of an old disadvantage. But still, they can use the wall. They do use it fairly effectively again.
Here comes Zeus with the flank. Death Blossom. The self-destruct finds 2 as well. Amplification Matrix thrown up, but it's not enough to give Company 8 the edge. Purple cleaning house here with 92% on the board. Looking to take their opening round of Lijiang Tower. Company 8's got to get back in touch at this point.
And it's such a nice way that they're playing around that Reinhardt Diva. They're just going to not be able to touch here is Company 8. And Purple, 100-0 in Control Center there. Saying, you know what, those first 2 rounds where they looked relatively equal, that was just a fluke. They're just going to clean it up with there. When HK gets that one, I think it was in a Reinhardt duplicate, just smacking around. There we go.
The double shatter. Yeah,
that was
the double
such a weird
shatter
one
for
because
sure.
that was very close though, because you're on that Symmetra wall, like just a tiny bit to the left or right means that that wall just blocks half that shatter. But they just got just the left of it on the right thing, and it's a good timing. And of course, HK is a DPS player, 78% kill participation. But they played Reinhardt for half that map because they got so many ultimates, and they still got all that value. And it's with the I would say bugginess, but with the way that Reinhardt Shatter sometimes doesn't work quite as you expect it, it's still impressive that they managed to get that Shatter off sometimes. I know it,
Right.
and if I play Reinhardt sometimes, I know you're a main tank main as well.
Yes,
Like
sir.
you know those moments where you think like, I'm gonna smack them now. They're gonna be on the ground, and all of a sudden the Shatter just doesn't hit because you're either in a shield or like behind a corner or something like that. So that was definitely a situation where that could have gone wrong. HK just whether it was luck or whether it was skill, I'm gonna go with skill. Definitely knows how to play Reinhardt a little bit as well. Now we're going into Kings Row next. I said this before the game already. I'm expecting both of these teams to play this fairly meta in the way that the maps they choose are. So Kings Row is definitely not a surprise to me. And that also means that we can kind of talk about what's been a bit meta on Kings Row. Like how do teams play Kings Row nowadays? And I don't know about you, but I'm actually quite a fan of putting just the Sigma and the Ash on the high ground of Kings Row defense, and then the others like a little bit further back. Maybe the Baptistas in the back line on the high ground, but at least you split that team up a little bit. So you have the low ground to contest the point and the high ground to get those off angle spam angles in. Because with Ash and Sigma, it is completely destructive. The accretion, the hyperspheres, the dynamites, everything just behind those barriers because you're on the high ground is way easier for you. So I think they're going to do that. Greg did a really good job of that. And then the question is, can Company B get that same result? Because they haven't been playing that Orisa Sigma as much.
And with the split comp, you could even throw a Brig up there to help keep that Sigma and Ash alive. I like the option of just running full treehouse as well. I mean, you can throw the
Mhm.
entire double shield composition onto the high ground, in which you have wonderful lines of sight. You can put it down so much damage, build up that ult charge, and then you have a lot of avenues to rotate around and react to the positioning of the attacking team. And I'd have to agree with you. It's what is Company B going to come? Company 8 going to come out here with? Because it you traditionally what you'll use the Rhine Zarya on attack, but the meta has certainly
Mm.
shifted a bit in recent times on how you approach this attack and how you
Been
deal
a
with those high
while.
ground defenses.
It's been a while since the Rhine Zarya, I must say. Like, Berry came out, and it was never really coming back
Yeah,
after
it's
that.
never quite the same
So,
after that. Yeah,
I like Reinhardt Orisa, Reinhardt Sigma is definitely still possible. You can run the Reinhardt if you want to. It's usually for that extra getting close and then brawl.
right.
So the way you usually run the Reinhardt is you run something like a Lucio Baptiste, maybe Lucio Ana, Lucio Moira, and you get to that point as quickly as possible. So you try to rush your position so that you force the enemy team to not be on those angles that they want to hold.
Well,
So instead of
yeah, you
being
could
on that high
utilize
ground
hotel.
with the
Yeah,
treehouse, you use a hotel. Maybe you have like a Mei with you, so you wall off that high ground. They can't even shoot at you that way.
right.
They have even director routes of points. But there's a lot of things you could potentially do to attack a high ground hold, like we said before. And there's a reason why teams don't prefer to do full treehouse, which is that, of course, like we saw in the old Goats days, where you can just rush the point and stand there. Then you force the defense to be in a position that they kind of don't really want to be in, where they have to drop down. So you'd rather already plant someone on that low ground so you create that crossfire. And with the crossfire, you usually get out more effective damage than if you put everyone on the high ground. So I'm very curious what this defense is going to look like. I think it's Zeus and Greg on the high ground, like I alluded to before, and then
Yes.
HK just flying around on the Echo. But we're going to see a Torbjorn on the attack of all things.
Well, I want to also add that Alexio's up on that high ground. They're keeping the Zenyatta perched up there with the Sigma. And we're getting the double shield with the Ashe accompanying that Torb. So we'll see
Yeah.
how Company 8 wants to approach this. So far, looks like they're just taking the slow route around the statue. Now, do they take the long route to take the high ground? Or do they push on to the objective? Right now, looks like they're just scouting the defense out, trying to figure out their mode of attack. But they got to act quickly. HK is going to take the Baptiste out. That alone could be a kill to prompt a reset from Company 8 here.
Yeah, we've seen this doing such a thing lately, where the attackers just try to send the Ashe and the Sigma to the high ground through that clock tower building, because it's just a 2v2, and that's just a battle you got to win at that point. So then you just split the fight evenly, but it doesn't always work out that way. This time though, Zeus does go down.
And Greg's shield breaking as well. Looks like Company 8 with the advantage as far as the 2v2 high ground battle is concerned. We are going to get an Ant Matrix from Company 8. Looks like it's on the low ground while the main bulk of the attack pushes onto the objective. Already got one tick picked up, and here comes the duplicate from the other side. Duplicating the Torbjorn of all choices. And it will get that Molten Core almost immediately, and it turns out to be a fantastic pick. Greg picking up an exit kill onto the Ashe just to shut this thing down. There's HK with a kill onto the Torb as well.
Yeah, you really saw HQ just like falling down, like, I'm just gonna spam my Q key. Whatever I get, I get. It's gonna be fine. I think they were going for the Orisa or the Sigma, to be honest, but they got the Torbjorn, and it worked out. They did a lot of damage with it. Molten Core came out quickly, and now this high ground hold is still going to be there. And I do think that you have to talk about that Torbjorn versus Echo matchup, because while the Torbjorn can do a little bit to spam her out, it's with that Orb Honor, that Echo has a lot of survivability, and with that Application Matrix and this high ground hold, I'm Special doesn't even get out of spawn.
No, the Discord orb there on I'm Special gets deleted immediately. And now Company 8 trying to take the long road up the stairs. Well, looks like they're going to try to do the split offense once again. Sending the Sigma and the Ashe up on that far high ground this time. See if they can use the range to dismantle Purple on this defense.
It does look like they are not really successful so far, but they're trying to get into a position where they're forced in this corner, and they use the Molten Core to just burn them out. It's coming out right now. You see it around that hotel corner. No one can peek, and it's just going to be Bob and Zeus going down.
But there's nobody to contest the high ground. I worry at Company 8 will have the same to push this through. HK already picking off I'm Special. Gravitic Flux online here for Company 8 as they try to push in. Ant Matrix and Rally both used. They want this point, and they want it now. They're going to go ahead and invest everything they've got and pick it up.
Oh, HK tried it there. They tried to go in hard with that focus beam. They get the duplication off, but just died right before they could press that Q button. The trigger wasn't ready yet because of the focus beam still being active. But yeah, it was a very heads-up play that finally Tamaki, Torbjorn working out. That Molten Core essentially doing everything they needed, right? They force out the position of the low ground comp low ground part of the comp in order to take that position around the hotel and to be in a dominant point presence. And then you have them all clustered up in that archway corner. And yeah, sure, there's people fighting from the high ground behind you, but you take out their Ash, you take out their Bob, and then there's not that much. The Sigma cannot carry that on his own.
Well, speaking of Sigma, we're going to have the Gravitic Flux and Supercharger all live for Company 8 as they round the first corner of Streets phase here. Duplicate online here for H-Kids. They're looking to challenge the high ground, duplicating the Brig. But it looks like a 3v1 up here. I'm worried for HK in this scenario. They're going to go ahead and get that bonus rally online. Supercharger invested from Company 8 as the cart is still just sitting around that first point. We are going to get Specials Bob onto the field. And it looks like Company 8 is just slowly but surely pushing this thing along. I don't feel like they're getting pressured down much at all. Nope, here come the kill. 4K there for I'm Special, including one picked up by the Butler.
And I've seen this before where the defensive Sigma and Ash, they take that off-angle position again. They take it in that high ground, in that tunnel, in the distillery, basically. And the problem is that the enemy team, the attackers, they know that that position exists, so they just send a few people up the stairs up there, and your defense cannot help you because they're not far enough forward. So unfortunately, that Gravitic Flux still hasn't come out from Greg, and he still has to find an opening to actually do that.
Amplification Matrix out from the defense, and Zeus goes down early and able to get in there, cut off that flank. Once again, the Sigma and the Ash trying to attack from that side flank angle, but Company 8 picking up beautifully. Now, yeah, I'm Special trying to take the Echo out of the sky. Zeus throwing the Bob in to try to help out, trying to bolster this defense because they're losing reinforcements left and right. They are able to find both the Orisa and the BAP. There goes the Brig as well. Zeus pulling this thing back here for Purple, showing him some signs of life.
Yeah, Zeus definitely popping off there in the end a little bit together with Leak. And of course, they are now in that third point. This is, if you hold King's Road, this is where you hold it. That's always the proverb. It's basically a proverb at this point, I'd say. But yeah, now we're going to be seeing how Greg and Zeus can hold this back line, like next to the point, behind that high ground there. Because that's where they're usually going to back off to, because it will still be the off angle. Like we said, Sigma is just going to try and use the off angle together with Ash. They're even going to the high ground here, and they're going to have no ultimates for that, but they will have the Supercharger, they will have the Transcendence, so if necessary, they can potentially get built out there.
Yeah, they're going to save that Transcendence for the incoming Blizzard. Bob available for the attackers. Both tank ults coming online. A lot in the war chest here for Company 8 as they look to push in. Supercharger coming out first from the defense, and they immediately burn down both shields. Cooldowns clearly in the favor of the defense right now, and Company 8 just forced to kind of fall back and regenerate theirs.
Yeah, they just use a lot of abilities there to try and get in, and now the full push is going to try to come out, but the duplicate is there. That's going to be a Gravitic Flux coming out from HK soon.
Flux finds 4. He's going to slam him back down. Zeus picking up Geo immediately, but the Immortality Field did come out just in time. Looks like Eggly able to devalue the Bob, send the Butler back into his death. And another little soft reset here from Company 8 with 65 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, because they did, as a result of the Immortality Field being gone, they did manage to get Geo afterwards. And also the Bob of I'm Special was pulled off the map. Was a nice halt there.
Yes,
you don't
sir.
have that many ultimates left on the defense, though. This is, if there's going to be a push where you get a little bit of an advantage and you can get the damage out, it's going to be this one.
Well, Blizzard used first. Ant Matrix up on the high ground from the defense. And Alexio and Zeus lighting up the fade already. There they go. That's 4 kills. There for the defense. Purple holding on strong despite the ult advantage on the other side.
Yeah, and Purple, of course, has that positional advantage, has the off angles already pre-set up, and that's what they're really good at. You saw on Control, they were sometimes struggling a little bit with getting those angles because it's more chaotic. You don't have as much time to set it up properly. But now you see them being comfortable, just like on point A, set up. They have the people exactly where they want to. They can't really get sniped and spammed out as easily. And HK, Greg, Zeus, and even the supports are just chiming in with all that damage. But now HK's down early. Didn't have the ultimate, so not that huge a deal. But it's still something you want to have not happen. You want to have that DPS for the extra spam and everything. And Tamaki back on the Doomfist, the signature pick.
An opportunity for the attackers as Gravitic Flux has come out from both sides. Looked like the defensive Flux perhaps a little stronger. Tamaki making the swap over to that Doom, like you said, going to take out Zeus. Nice one-punch kill there. Rally thrown in from the attackers as Company 8 looks to finish this thing off with the overtime wick burning. HK swoops up and clears off the high ground, denying that flank angle. Greg able to take out the main tank, and it looks like the defense, well, Purple's going to hold on here at the very back of the foundry.
And that's such a powerful move that the Echo has in her arsenal, to just fly up on that high ground from the flank and actually get the kills. Because it's sometimes so hard to dislodge those DPS from those high grounds. And Echo has a very agile, mobile way of getting up there without easily being targeted. Just take out a DPS that's, especially long range hitscan DPS, that is fighting from the mid, from one of those high grounds on the left and the right. And not a lot of DPS can easily do that. So that's one of those things that Echo brought back into the meta, that HK is showing very nicely, very nice showcase of that. On the attack, though, I don't know if HK is going to keep going for that Echo. So far, they haven't been able to shut them down as easily on the side of Company 8. So I would say would expect it, but it would definitely make sense to me. On the defense, though, they will start out straight away with that Mei. No Torbjorn. Apparently, Torbjorn only on attack. A little bit viable, and then they swapped off it as well. And there, in general, have been a bit more swaps coming out here for the side of Company 8. It does feel like they are adapting to Purple rather than the other way around.
Yes, sir, I'd have to agree, as Purple showing us something very similar here so far. Of course, Zeus going over that Widowmaker, most likely for the initial shot. Doesn't even look like they're going to stick with that. Just coming out here with the Killer Queen comp. Dynamite with a laser beam, double shield. Alexio sticking with the Zenyatta.
Yeah, Alexio is gonna stick that one up. Of course, Discord Orb got buffed. Zenyatta does a lot of damage in general, and they have been popping off in the kill feed. And it does seem like they're able to win either DPS or the tank war with that. We know that DPS are much more easy to target nowadays with those Discord Orbs. They just will blow up out of the sky, really.
Purple trying to pass around this statue, but an aggressive wall denying the retreat of the front line. Company 8 putting a lot of damage down in early. HK sitting at half health, but there's that damage you were talking about. Alexio finding a kill, HK finding a pair of kills. And that's half the defense already gone as Purple just stormed through point A here. This is going to be a monstrous time back.
Nah, Purple is already up the tempo, and we know that they can just run over this. And we keep saying it, it's all about those off angles. And with that Echo, they just have that extra off angle tool. The Echo can in all these interesting positions. Then they still have Greg and Zeus that kind of just match up what Aster and I'm Special are trying to do. And it just seems that with that extra tool to get the off angle, which is H-Key, they're kept putting themselves into a position where the Discord Orb just finds all the value it needs.
Ooh, Eggly go down early. A good pick there for the defense. Company 8 finding probably the most priority target they can. But Echo brings that kind of maneuverability before only seen with Devo, where they can kind of bounce between the flank angles, go back and reinforce the front line, pick off low health targets. And now, looks like Purple just kind of scouting the best way, perhaps waiting for that Sigma to open things up. That's what they're waiting for, that Ant Matrix coming out. A bunch of damage pouring down the streets phase here, but Company 8 able to just back out of that LOS.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like Company 8 is able to sustain a little bit, but there's a few members behind them, under whom is Greg, who's closing the Gravitic Flux. And once again, the off-angle power is coming into play.
Suddenly looking like Company 8 just stuck in an awkward spot. Wonderful flank there from Greg and Zeus. Flux online, may not even need it, as already both tanks are down. There go both supports for Company 8. Just going to be cleaning up from here, full steam ahead for this payload.
Yeah, 4 minutes 14 to go, and they're already halfway through that second checkpoint. It doesn't look like you're going to have much trouble finishing out this map, but of course, there's still a little ways to go, so they're not there yet. There's tools online for the defense. Almost all the ultimates, aside from that Amplification Matrix, will be ready. Same can be said on the other side, though. It will be the Transcendence that won't be there, but everything else is getting very close or is already online.
We're seeing if H-Key gets another fantastic duplicate, or if Tamaki's Blizzard can shut this down. Gravitic Flux will start things off for both sides. Trying to get the teams to have health. The follow-up needs to be there. Blizzard out from the defense, Bob thrown in from the offense. It looks like the tanks are frozen up, the duplicate used onto the Sigma, but frozen stiff. It's just an Echo Popsicle standing on the back of the objective. Does eventually thaw out, get that Gravitic Flux up, slams down Tamaki for a little revenge kill. Mad about being frozen, they send Tamaki back to spawn. But the
Yeah.
attackers still kind of slowing down this pace a bit. They're not pushing all out just yet, despite having the man advantage.
Yeah, they will definitely play it safe. They have make sure that everyone's healed up, that they maybe have application matrix, or they have immortality field back up. That HK is in a good
Oh,
position, and now they go in
yeah.
hard. They're gonna get the kills, and that is gonna be cleanup time. HK
This,
with all the demon, all the damage with the focus beams cancels it and goes for the next one for the punch in. That will be point two completed, and we said it before where it's just I mean, I don't think actually we said it before, but it's one of those things where the gravitic flux usually forces out the immortality field. Usually save it for that. But unfortunately, if you have an echo that also pulls out Sigma and you have two duplicates, sorry, two gravitic fluxes, that does mean that you cannot actually have an immortality field for both of them if they time it correctly. So here we go. It's going to be that yeah, I would say that that tool that HK has become in every single way, shape, and form is just working out so well for them. And it's not just the mechanical play, it's just the general out DPSing they're able to do with those off angles. And that's Zenyatta. I mean, any actually switching over to the Zenyatta to probably answer that. But then the question is still, can they get that value around the shields that they're getting with H key on the side of purple?
Tamaki made the swap over to the Hanzo as well, and immediately found 2 kills, including Eggley on the other side. So a little bit of a reset coming through. I gotta say, those Discord orbs combined with HK on the Echo have just been absolutely menacing. I was worried the Zenyatta would be vulnerable, but man, proven valuable.
Yeah, and Zenyatta has been always that sort of boom or bust type of character, right?
Sure.
Where it feels like a glass
Very
cannon.
much the
But
epitome.
the cannon is not really. It doesn't really matter what they're made from because so far it's just cannon shots coming out, no glass being broken.
Both Amp Matrix coming out, forcing an early immortality field from the defense. Transcendence used here from Purple as they try to push in. Another kill and yet another duplicate here for HK. This time choosing the Orisa. Gonna fall back, take care of Bob. Provide a little extra shielding, finish off I'm Special, and, well, help Purple to push in. They've got Victory Square in their sights and are setting the pace for the end of this fight. It's going to be up to Company 8 to come up here and dislodge them off this point.
And we will see now. Oh,
Oh, they don't
they
even
don't
get back
make
to
it.
touch,
They don't
man.
make it. Oh, that was so close. Oh man. And then you really, really, really got to feel that if you are Company 8 and is your spirit broken with something like that. Of course, the time bank was still significant enough that it might not have mattered in the end. But that's still an annoying way to lose it, where you're like, oh, we could have probably made it if we just went a little bit earlier or something like that. So that's unfortunate. But they still have another map to bring it back and potentially go for that reverse sweep. But for now, it's a 2-0, and Rialto is going to be the next map. Like I said, this is sort of what we were expecting. I think before the match,
Yeah.
we already talked about it. Like this is probably going to go Lishan, then King Zero, then Rialto, and then for the assault map, Hanamura or Anubis. They usually don't go full sky in a situation like that, but they first had to get to that have to get to that map 4. We are still in map 3 after all, and now we're going to map 3 is going to be Rialto. And once again, I don't think anything has to change composition wise. I think that's really where they're at. Company 8 might just not have something that can properly shut down that echo. And if I might suggest something, I don't know if this is something you're going to agree with, Wolfskunk, but let's see. Uh, if you don't have a good echo player, but you do still want to do something to get more of the backline damage in, there's two choices that are right now really being popular. Of course, you have the Genji, who just does a lot of damage right now
Mm-hmm.
with the general right clicks, but also the Tracer has been fairly
Tracer.
popular.
Yes,
And
sir.
with no Brigitte being run on either side so far a lot, that Tracer could just really get a lot of chip damage, a lot of pulse bomb damage, all of that in. And in Rialto, she has been very popular. It has been fairly popular to run either Tracer Echo or Tracer Ash there. So if I'm Company 8, that is something I might be looking forward to because so far the second DPS they've been running has not been getting nearly as much value as
Right.
HK has been able to get.
Yeah, that they tried making the swap to the Hanzo and the Zenyatta of their own there in the back of
Yeah,
King's Row, and I mean, able to find a couple of picks early, but after that, it just got absolutely stormed over. Um,
yeah.
and can't help but feel like they should have gotten a final fight in there. I think the Tracer is a good pick, a good option personally. I mean, if you're not going to go for the Genji, which has obviously gotten the recent buffs, has seen a lot of playtime as of late, the Tracer a really good answer to the Zenyatta specifically. That one clip potential is so huge, and I can't help but feel if they can pull Alexio off the Zen, it would open up a world of options here for Company 8.
Yeah. Yeah, so in this case, you do keep having that same argument, all that discussion that goes on around things like meta and about comfort picks, where what do you do as a team? Like, are you a team that will just stick with that one meta comp and try to mirror what the enemy's doing all the time, even if they're just better at it than you? Or do you try to make slight adjustments, like one or two heroes?
Right.
Or do you just go for like that full style swap where you say like, you know what? Let's just go something like a dive, or just do something really wacky with like a bastion, or maybe you do go a wrecking ball Zarya. It's it's maybe a little joke we throw in there, but there's like you can get more creative if that's something you're more comfortable with. But it does look like
Sure.
Company 8. They're a fairly new roster, and usually when you're a new roster, you're still trying to just find the synergy, the basics. So you keep
Right.
it fairly simple composition wise. You just go with what you see most in scrims and hope that that will like carry you through, and you're going to be able to pull that out based on like early on teamwork synergy. But if you go up to a team like Purple that has just been together for a little bit longer, that has those plays down already, I don't think that mirroring it is going to do it for you.
I will also throw out there now, say Company 8 does decide to pick up the Tracer and go
Yeah,
attack the back line. Does Purple just make the swap to Brig and start running Brig BAP?
I
Would that
mean
be worth it?
maybe,
Even if you force that swap,
maybe.
is that a victory? Is that a step in the right direction here for Company
It
8?
will definitely help them out not taking that much damage for the Zenyatta. I think the Zenyatta not only does a lot of damage, but also provides a lot of damage with that Discord Orb. So I do definitely think that you would. I wouldn't consider it necessarily a victory, but it would definitely be a change that change might work out beneficial for you. So because like now we look at the defense, and they're still running the exact same thing. They haven't
Exact
had to
same
change it.
composition.
They
Nope.
haven't been forced or even threatened in having to swap that composition.
Oh no, Purple
So
firmly setting the pace here today.
exactly. So if you are at Company 8, you got to find something to break that rhythm, either consistently shut down H key, which is hard, or find a different way to do as much or more damage to actually threaten their front line and their other TPS. Because that's just the problem they've been having. They cannot get the same value out of their picks because of their either lack of damage or their different types of damage.
I'm special going over to the Widowmaker as an answer and immediately takes off 95% of H Key's health, just narrowly escaping death right out of the gate. The rest of the tank and support line mirroring what Purple are showing us here. But I'm special sticking with the Widowmaker. I thought it might have just been an initial attempt. Going to go ahead and stick with the sniper. Tamaki on the Torbjorn. And the cart already pushing up towards the courtyard. Got to deal with Zeus up on this high ground, though, is once again, the split attack. Half of Company 8 going through the post office, and the other half trying to push up main.
And we will see this high ground hold being fairly successful. Of course, once
Yeah.
again, that off angle that we keep talking about. So do they choose to go on the off angle of their own? They do, through the low ground hotel. The Immortality
Right.
Field is already out here for Leak.
Oh, the turret finally takes HK down. Hard carry for Purple now back in spawn. Here's a window for Company 8 to work with. We're going to get Transcendence out from the other side. Zeus landing nice headshots, takes down both Julio and Annie. Follows it up with a nice kill as well. 3K there for Zeus in that engagement. Make that 4. Zeus showing up in the feed here for Purple.
Yeah, and so far, Purple just unstoppable on their hold. Unbreakable, really, because it's defense, of course. So they're just unbreakable defense so far. No support also is left, but everything else is about to come online. And on the attack, I mean, they keep swapping things up. I'm special going over to the Ashe again. They'll have a Transcendence, they'll have a Flux, maybe a Supercharger, but it's just not enough. I don't think they'll have the tools to break through this. They might once again start relying on that Molten Core to really push them out of certain area.
Yeah, but they've got to find an answer to these two DPS. If it's not HK, it's Zeus on the Ashe. Both of them just absolutely on fire here today. Zeus finding 2 kills. I'm special does respond and take HK out of the fight. But still a massive advantage for the defense. Alexio goes down as well. So perhaps with the respawns, a slight opportunity for a power play for Company 8.
Yeah, there should be if they can get it out quickly. Might even swap over something to Lucio, but I don't think so because Gio has that Transcendence ready.
Right.
They should at least be able to make a more aggressive play. No Discord Orb means that's a 30% damage advantage if you actually use that properly.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how Company 8 is planning to attack this high ground. Right now, they just seem to be ignoring it, and it's just proving absolutely detrimental. HK picking off Geo before they can even make that rotation. And in fact, Company 8 trying to circle their whole team around to rotate up to that high ground and challenge the Sigma and the Ash, push them off of that positional advantage. HK's going to go ahead and duplicate the Sigma and is not retreating, just going toe-to-toe up there in that small room at the top of the hotel. Zeus able to win the duel against the counterpart Ash. Now here comes that bonus gravitic flux. Oh, but it runs out before the slam. Zeus does still have Bob available, but a host of ultimates online for the attackers as they kind of sit back and wait for those cooldowns to come back. Oh, they're going to go ahead and throw the Amplification Matrix, initiate this next fight. The positioning from Purple, though, is just too good. They're not going to get caught out by that Amp Matrix whatsoever here, Mana Class.
I was going to say, they haven't even given up high ground yet. They're still in that position, but there's the Molten Core, and this should be able to definitively evict them from the high ground, or at least a similar position. But they're still there. Zeus is still on that side with Geo, with Greg. Geo actually finds two here with Tamaki, and there will potentially now be an opportunity to push in, especially with HK going down. This might be the push, but they're still trading.
Company 8 has got to win this now. They've used their Transcendence. They've used their Immortality Field. They need to find the kills. Fortunately for them, they are. And I'm Special Geo getting the last two there. Overtime Wicca burning, but looks like they will get point A. Are we going to get a contest at the end?
No, there's definitely time to get another fight here. The Orisa's already ready for it. And there's going to be a Wrecking Ball coming back in to really contest that as a team. Wrecking Balls on both sides, actually. And they will be able to touch.
No ult here for the defense. Do have a Bob available for Company 8. They really want to get this point in here. A full hole here would be disastrous as Purple on match point. I'm Special. Able to get that Bob out. Assisting and getting that first point on the board.
Still 2 minutes 20 to go now to get to second. And now you might see this momentum go up, because that's, of course, what Escort usually does. You get that first objective, and then afterwards you can just snowball on through. But they don't really have that many ultimates to work with. That being said, that Molten Core is so devastating. It's so hard to fight when you have to watch your step all the live long day. And yeah, the main thing that they can potentially do is throw out their own Molten Core when HK duplicates that Torbjorn.
Very defensible corner. We'll see if the Molten Core... No! The Molten Core gets shut down! He only gets a little bit of the love on the ground before getting decimated. HK's whopping over to the Orisa, taking care of the backline while Zeus moves in and gets the final blows. Nice headshot on I'm Special there to finish off that fight.
Yeah, I'm Special, just not able to get as much value out of it as Zeus is. And I think it's all has to do with that positioning. I think Zeus is in a nice spot. Ooh. I don't know what the point of that Bob was. It might have been either a misclick or they thought they could do something cool with like skipping them over the boat to the other side. I don't really know. All I do know is that there's going to be a Wrecking Ball behind them, but I'm Special is not even going to get out of spawn. Like, once again, just gets shot down over there.
This DPS duo from Purple just dominant here today. And yeah, like you said, I'm Special. Can't even get a shot off. Can't even get aiming down the sights before their head is picked off.
Right now, Zeus is just popping off on the Ash. HK is shown to be the shockwave of the NA Tier 3 scene, and it's so hard to push into this when they have this shooting gallery position where it's just a bird's nest and they can sit there, shoot down on you all the live long day, whether it's eggs, feathers, or insects, or whatever they do. They just keep raining down on you.
I mean, Wrecking Ball running up there in a last-ditch attempt to try to dislodge him, but not even the mine is able to dislodge Purple.
Yeah, but it's also not even a fight. Like,
no,
they
not even.
Approach. Like, you see this, how far they can spam him, all the damage they have. Tamaki's now going back over the Doomfist. We've seen this happen when they're in desperation mode, and they need to get something done.
Company 8 just throwing stuff at the wall here, hoping something sticks.
Exactly, and you can do that with Bird Feces sometimes, when they're being dropped on you, but they need a little bit more of the Bird Feces to get this one, and Tamaki's not even going to get away with their life there.
No, already down. Just dominant on this Echo, just ridiculous. Transcendence is going to come out to block Greg's Gravitic Flux. We're going to get another duplicate onto the Orisa, and H key once again lighten up the feed left and right. Overtime Wick is going to burn down. This is as far as Company 8 will get here on Rialto.
Yeah, at this point, they really got to start Googling, how do I get across the bridge on Rialto? And, without dying, I think you need to add that, or without getting spammed as hard. I think it's really hard. I do think that definitely that position is very strong, and the current meta really is conducive to that playstyle where you say we set up on the high ground and we always get either a high ground advantage or an off angle advantage. We can rotate around you. We can choose when we drop on you if you actually manage to get close. And it's just a shame that they're able to be stopped and reset in such an annoying position, because it doesn't often happen that you actually get stopped in that spot. Usually you're able to push a bit further through. Then the defenders cannot set up there, because then they can get like either back capped, or the position is a bit weird for the cart, or your respawns come in time. So very good capitalization from Purple on recognizing where they were and what power position they had, and just keep on stomping on them, keep on throwing down the rain of damage. And now that we're going into the second half, of course, it's very possible to have a first point hold. Rialto is a map where we see that happen all the live long day.
More than any other map in Overwatch, as a matter of fact.
They do really need to keep controlling this high ground. They need to keep controlling the high ground of this Rialto hotel. They need to keep controlling the narrative, keep controlling the cross angles. Because as soon as HK and Zeus and even Greg are able to get on those off angles and get the value there, it seems to be over fairly quickly. So, yeah, that first point is going to rely heavily on the dynamic.
Tamaki bringing out the Doomfist here on the defense. I'm Special kind of sitting on the flank angle, trying to see if they can get an early pick onto H-Key, but too elusive. That Echo just going to fly right away. Zeus goes down, so a good start here, but obviously very quick respawn there for Purple as they make their approach across the bridge.
And Purple doesn't have that far to go before they can really start fighting properly. The payload is actually going to get stopped here. Nice shot there for I'm Special.
Yeah.
You see that HK a little bit more trouble to get it in those new angles when they're on the attack. Then they have to actually initiate into the angle rather than, wait for the angle to be initiated into.
I'm Special's going to need to do that several more times if Company 8 wants to win this map. In fact, Zeus and Eglia finding kills here on this second attack. Two-man advantage here for Purple as they look to push into Courtyard.
Yeah, the Courtyard is a very nice place to fight if you don't have to worry about that high ground. And Purple right now doesn't have to worry about that high ground. They will send their Sigma, I think even their Ashe around the side to try and get some spawn damage out. Of course, that spam will help. And no real ultimates aligned for either team here.
No, we've got I'm Special up on the high ground, but HK going up there to challenge, run them off. The Doomfist trying to focus down the Sigma there on the side while the bulk of the fighting going on here right under the archway. Zeus with a nice coach gun air trick shot takes Tamaki down, but Geo winning the battle of the Zenyatas. Now we're going to get the Ant Matrix out. That extra damage, the Discord Orb not there. Might as well throw up the Ant Matrix, get some double damage through. But here comes the big old Butler from the defense. Purple about to have one of their own. HK able to burn down both the Butler and the Master as I'm Special falls as well. And now, a little bit of advantage here. This should be Purple's point to take, but they still have to get through these two tank lines. And the Ant Matrix coming out from the other side. Company 8 trying to bring this thing back from the brink, but Purple doing a good job of just kiting back, waiting for the cooldowns to go down, and here they're going to strike back. They're going to throw Transcendence, push themselves back into this point, and see if they can take a Supercharger used as well. Now they're going to throw the Gravitic Flux in, see if that can be the one to take it home, but Geo has his Transcendence ready to go. This has been a heck of a back and forth here on point A. Now a defensive Supercharger, but Purple had just done enough to claim that ground.
Yeah, that fight never really did stop, did it? It just kept on going, kept on lingering. They kept getting one or two picks, and then the respawns came back in because they kept trading. And now they're going into point B, 3 minutes 40, which is a little bit less time than they maybe would have had if they got the point earlier. But it's still plenty of time to get it halfway through. And the defense is already going to be in a place where if they lose one fight, this cart is just going to get there.
Oh, and look at the positioning from Purple here. Already laying claim to the high ground, not allowing the defense to get that very strong positioning, not allowing them to utilize these windows. You do have HK with this duplicate on the line, and they've just been magical with this ultimate all day long, seemingly finding the perfect target and the perfect placement. We're going to get Meteor Strike and Bob out from the defense, but Tamaki immediately deleted the moment he hits the ground. 2 kills coming through from the defense, though. And looks like they might be able to hold on, but Company 8 missing both of their DPS now that Zeus is getting up in the feed. Duplicate not quite used yet, as Purple's going to take a breather, wait for those cooldowns to come back.
Finally, Purple taking a little bit of a back foot, but as I said, of course, HK throws at the duplicate. We'll have almost a Gravitic Flux ready. Will get thrown out by the main tank of Company 8 there. It gets traded back in because of the duplicate form running out. It's just a complete blow up here from the Echo. It's just a Zenyatta on point without a trance. I don't think anyone can make it back. They just gave up.
This
I'm
is Dunsky.
special. This is
Yuio
over.
got
It's a
caught.
3-0.
Yeah, Yuyo got caught in a horrible position inside the Opera House there. Got completely body blocked. There was no heals available, no way to retreat. And once Aglia went down, it was easy pickings for the rest of Purple here.
Yeah, and of course, we're going to see a beautiful Gravitic Flux play come out here. The post-Gravitic Flux play, actually. And, good accretions in general.
Oh, that rock was
Hyper
nasty.
Spears. And Greg was the MVP in the match I casted with him last time, and definitely did a lot of work again today. But honestly, if I would give it to someone here, it wouldn't be Greg. Greg did a great job together with Zeus on the off angle. It was a big distraction, but in the end, that pure raw skill coming out from HK is just
Oh, yeah.
undeniable. Like, you cannot say that HK was not the carrier of that team. And sure, they're set up correctly. They're set up in this entire composition that works around abusing the off angles with the Zenyatta Discord orb and everything like that. But you still have to hit the shots. You still have to get the angle. You still have to get the timing right to go in correctly. The duplicates are beautiful. There's just nothing really I could say. And like I said, I call them the shockwave of the tier 3 NA scene. I think that's a fairly fitting name.
I think
And
that's
I'm
a
very
poster.
curious to see. I'm also definitely very curious to see where they're going to go with this Purple roster, because they just keep on upping their game every single time I see them.
I expect we're going to see big things out of them here
Yeah.
as we continue through the summer. I have no doubts in that one. And I mean, just being able to stay alive on that Echo can be such a feat. Their positioning has to be perfect to avoid that Ash. I mean, I'm Special clearly had a very solid Ash. There was, not taking anything away from the individual skill of the DPS, but Purple absolutely ran away with it. HK 100% your player of the match. No doubts. I don't think
No
in
doubt.
anybody's mind
No
here
doubt.
today,
No
Mana
doubt.
Class. No doubt at
Yeah.
all.
At all in anyone's mind. But of course, we've had 2 games, 2 fairly fast games, 2 3-0s as
Yeah.
well. Of course, that tends to happen sometimes. You have these group stages, you're not quite sure where everyone lands yet. And then eventually, when you get to like the main part of the tournament, when the group stage is sort of over, that's when you start seeing the closer matchups. We get to the closer end, where you get the top of the group playing against each other. And
Right.
those are just matches we haven't really seen yet. It's been
Well,
fairly one-sided so far. But yeah,
I will
I mean,
add that both of the teams that were on the receiving end of the 3-0 losses today were brand new rosters. Still
fair
plenty of
enough.
time
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them to find their
plenty of time.
synergy and get back in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we say plenty of time though, but it's only 2 weeks until that open division starts. So if they're really shooting for that, not that much to go off. An open division with the changed format doesn't allow you to have like 5 weeks of still getting into that roster, getting into
Fair
that
enough.
synergy, etc. It's a double elimination tournament, so you can only lose 1 game, and then you have to win everything, because otherwise you're just going to be out.
Yep.
And it might happen sooner, but it's one of those things where the mentality and the way how you build a team, how you form a roster, how you build synergy, that timeline is so much shorter and so much different than it was before, that might come back to bite Company 8 in the behind. But for now, they still have a little bit of time to work with, and I look forward to seeing as well what they can do.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up here. Both of these teams moving to 2-1 after today's match. Y'all go check out the Fight for Redemption for the Get Good Championship going on Twitch TV/EHE_Overwatch. Some more exciting action coming at you here from the amateur scene. But that's going to do it for Mana Class and myself. Mana Class, a pleasure as always joining me in the booth. It's been a good match. I love it.
It's been fun. You know, they were short, but they were still very sweet.
We're
So
excited.
maybe a bit spicy even, you know?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
you got some spice in there. So that's what we like to see. So we'll see you in the next one. The Prospect Cup will go on, of course. It's only day 3. We have quite a few days to
Oh
go.
yeah,
So,
Monday, Wednesday, Friday here for the next 2 weeks.
exactly.
You'll be seeing our friendly faces bringing you some more awesome T3 action. But we're gonna go ahead and bid you adieu. Y'all remember to look out for each other in game and out, and we'll see you next time.